This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Matt Macklin here in London. Matt, firstly, how are you? How's life treating you?
I'm good, not too bad at all. Bit tired, but hey-ho.
Hey-ho, and here we are. Wardley-Clarke is finally over the line, Matt. A lot of interesting quips between the pair of them. I saw Fabio wearing a T-shirt in honour of Frazer Clarke. What do you make of this fight? How excited are you for March 31st to swing around?
Excited for the fight. I don't know why it's called bad blood, because there ain't that much bad blood, is there? There's a bit of needle from the last time and a few things said, but the reality is both of them are very kind of respectful guys. So I was always thinking, I'm sure if someone says something bad about them, they'll react. But I was thinking to myself, who's going to lower the tone first here? Because I can't see either of them being that guy. And Andy was trying to spice it up and hoping one, but neither of them really went there, did they? What was the original question?
How excited you are for the fight?
I'm excited, but I'm excited for the fight. Now, the build-up, I don't think will ever get any more than what it was today. I think it'll be respectful, and they'll stick to talking about the boxing. But sometimes, well, quite a lot of the time, they're the fights that actually are a lot better than the ones that, some of these misfits when they give it all the talk, and then they're terrified of each other when the bell goes. They won't go anywhere near each other. Do you know what I mean? And you see, like, the weekend just gone by, Azeez, Joshua Buatsi, again, two guys who were respectful of each other, but when the bell went, it was, they fought pretty fiercely. They really went for it, and I think this will fall into that category. A little bit said, but really, generally, it was quite respectful. But I think when the bell goes on the night, I think the fight will exceed expectations.
One thing on Frazer's behalf, I think people have been waiting for that somewhat of a breakout performance since he turned over into the pro ranks. Do you feel like an opponent like Fabio Wardley, because of the little quips that they've had, it will bring it out of him?
Oh, it will have to be his breakout performance, because if he doesn't perform to the best of his ability, he'll get beaten. Do you know what I mean? Now, if he does perform to the best of his ability, well then, that's different. It is an interesting sort of side story, the different sort of journeys they've had, and obviously people are jumping different things. And look, Frazer's the more experienced. Do you know what I mean? He's consistently competed and won against top level opposition. Fabio hasn't fought that same level of opposition overall, but as a professional, he has been in deeper, and he's been in more situations and scenarios in a fight. He's had to readjust and all this type of stuff. So he's the more experienced as a professional, the more seasoned as a professional. But overall in boxing, Frazer's the guy that's consistently competed at top level.
For as much as you followed Fabio's career when Sky and Matchroom working together and Fabio's boxing on those shows, has it surprised you, his journey, how he's continued to kind of prove those doubters wrong where he's at in this moment in time?
No, because I was commentating on a lot of those undercard fights of the shows. Back then I think Carl Frutch was lead commentator, so I was doing all the undercard fights up to the main two, and so I've seen all his early fights. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen him improve, and I've seen him get better. And so he's it hasn't shocked me that he's progressed. I remember commentating on those fights, saying, "Look, we don't know how good he's going to be. It's hard to say. He should be winning in impressive fashion at this level, but he is also winning in really impressive fashion, and he's getting better. You could see he was getting better. I'd heard the stories that he'd sparred with Dillian White. He'd done lots of rounds with various other people as well, and he was ambitious, and you could see he was athletic. He had explosive power, and he had a willingness to learn. So I remember thinking, no, he's going to be all right. I think he's going to be one of the ones that, because it is an unusual way into professional boxing, the white collar. He hasn't got amateur pedigree backed up behind him, but but you can see he's a winner. You can see he's athletic. He's blessed with, and there's certain things like power. You can teach people technique and plant their feet and to get a bit more power, but you can't really you can't make a puncher out of a non-puncher. But you can see he had natural power.
Matt, moving away from that fight, but sticking with the heavyweight division, obviously we have that disappointing news of the Tyson Fury-Alexander Usyk fight being postponed due to the cut on Tyson's eye. Just get your thoughts on the entire fallout from it. And with a cut like that, can it be completely healed and Tyson be completely ready to go by May 18th, in your opinion?
Well, look, he's, first of all, very disappointing. But hey ho, that's boxing. You can't. It's a combat sport. You can't not spar. You know what I mean? The biggest fight, he's got to be sharp and as ready as he can, and you spar. That's the risk you take. But I think the cut will be okay. I think it depends. He's got to, when the stitches come out and you see how well it was stitched and the scar tissue, etc. But generally speaking, if he gets 6 or 7 weeks letting it heal before he goes back in the ring sparring, then I think he should be okay.
It's obviously the same way that Otto Wallin cut when he fought him as well. If you're Alexander Usyk, is that something you look to target as soon as the fight starts?
Look, I don't know. I just think when you're in there, you're fighting, aren't you? Are you trying to pinpoint the cut? Or the nose or the teeth. You're trying to hit the face, aren't you? The chin, the nose, whatever. Look, it's a concern for Team Fury, but what can you do? It's happened now, and you've got to do what you got to do now. Give it the time, and you got to just hope then that maybe get a bit of a better head, maybe a different head guard, maybe one with the nose, but that's a bit more. I don't know. That's something he's got to look at for himself.
Matt, just moving away from that one, but back to this past weekend, obviously Joshua Buatsi defeating Dan Azeez. It was a very good fight, intriguing one. Some question marks over whether or not there were slips at the end in the 11th round. But just your thoughts on that entire bout?
Brilliant fight. Credit to both. You got to, credit to Buatsi for winning, a good performance, dominant in the end. But Dan made him fight every second of every round. He wasn't an easy, even though he was a clear winner. Buatsi, take away the knockdowns, because I don't know would they have been knockdowns without the slip. There were definitely a punch landed, and he did get down, but he also slipped. You know what I mean? So I think the ref did have to call it the knockdown, but it was unlucky because I don't think he would have gone down if he hadn't slipped. But if you take them out of it, I think it was a 116, 112, and 2 117, 111s. That's what they would have been without the knockdowns. So 8-4, 9-3. So dominant win for Buatsi, which is what I seen. I agree with that, but it doesn't really tell the story of the fight, or it doesn't probably give credit to from what Azeez brought to the fight, because he certainly played his part in what was a really exciting and entertaining fight.
Matt, you said to me before the fight that you'd like to see Ben Whittaker call out the loser of Saturday night's main event, obviously in that case being Dan Azeez. Now, Ben's been making the headlines for a number of reasons, because of his own performance, for showboating, and he's been all across social media whenever I go on, I imagine whenever you go on as well. Would you be interested in that, and what did you make of Ben's performance and, as I mentioned, all that flashy style that he brings with him?
Listen, I think Ben's a great talent. I think he's got all the ability in the world. He's got great confidence in his own reflexes to stand there and, box the way he does. Movement, everything. Really good fighter, and I think he can go all the way. Now, he can call Dan Azeez out next. I don't think that'll happen now, because I think Dan's going to need a rest. But I think Ben's sort of short-term goal, obviously his long-term goal is to become world champion and become a star. But I think his short-term goal should be to become British champion, and whether that's next or in a couple of fights or 3 fights, whatever, that should be what he's chasing in his short term.
Just final one from me, Matt. The EBU have ordered Dalton Smith and Adam Azeem. Do you think we'll see it next?
I hope so, because I said it before to Andy Clarke. I said, why not? I said, look, we've seen Nigel Benn against Michael Watson for the Commonwealth title. Nigel Benn got stopped, I think, in the 6th round, but didn't harm his career, did it? It didn't hurt him. He learned a lot from that fight. He was banging everyone out, blasting everyone out, and then Michael Watson took what he had to do and he punched himself out. But it made him reevaluate and look at everything, and he made adjustments and he improved from it. So, and it was a massive fight at the time. So, it's the Anthony Joshua against Dillian Whyte. They fought for the British title. Didn't harm Dillian's career. You know what I mean? He fought for the title, he got beat, but he'll have learned a lot from the fight, and certainly from a profile point of view, because it was a big domestic fight. There was a lot of publicity surrounding it, so his profile grew massively. So I think if you take the same sort of lessons from both of those, and you look at the Dalton Smith-Adam Azim, like, you know, he's sent for the Southern Area title. This is a European title on the line here. Do you know what I mean? It's a big title outside of the world titles. It's the next big one. So definitely get the fight on. I mean, I hope that they're not talked out of it, either of them, by the promoters or managers. I think both lads want the fight, and I hope it happens.
All right, Matt, I appreciate your time now. I know you're a busy man. You probably want to get home as well, back to Birmingham like myself. So thank you for speaking to me. I'll see you again soon.
Cheers, nice one.